We're in Columbus, Ohio. This part of the United States, farmland, beautiful rivers, and beautiful ladies. On the outskirts, a complete village, a replica of the 1830s, right down to the stables. And of course, this is Woody Hayes' Buckeye Country and the beautiful Ohio State campus. About 500,000 people live in Columbus proper. Downtown, by the way, we met pretty Lori Capsta, who was Miss Ohio in 1975.
And here in the downtown area, you'll find an almost perfect melding of the new and the old. Just behind me, the State House, and to my right, by way of comparison, the all-new State Office Tower, preserving the traditional while still planning for the future. Speaking of traditions, there's another growing tradition in the Columbus area, championship drag racing from the National Hot Rod Association.
The home of championship drag racing, National Trail Raceway near Columbus, Ohio. This is the 12th annual NHRA Springnationals, a total purse topping $231,000, over 600 race cars from throughout the U.S. and Canada. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave McClelland, and with me here at the Springnationals, Frank Farino. Frank, the Springnationals noted for the unexpected.
And we seem to be getting more of the unexpected. First of all, the 1975 defending champion in Top Fuel, Marvin Graham, didn't even make the field. And a blow struck for women's lib. Guess who did make the field? Not only that, but made it low E.T. Shirley Cha-Cha Muldowney.
Well, there's an overflow crowd on hand here today at National Trail Raceway for the best in championship drag racing, the Springnationals. This is the first round of Top Fuel Eliminator, and this is Frank Holden out of Houston, Texas. His competition, the low qualifier, Shirley Muldowney.
Yeah, you know, I talked to her earlier today, Dave. She, by the way, has some very, very strong feelings about just where you can win or lose a drag race.
On the line. The job can get done right on the starting line. That's where the race can be won. So it's the reflexes, and a woman's reflexes are ideal for this sport.
And Shirley parlayed those reflexes, as you can see, into a big lead over Frank Holden.
Yeah, I guess she was right. She does have the right reflexes for it.
Here we see in slow motion, Shirley Muldowney straight and true. Frank Holden, a little bit of smoke as he came off the starting line. That enough to give Shirley the big win.
Well, she got by the first round. I'll tell you what, my man, I'm going to leave you up here. Head on down to the starting line where the action is.
And on the starting line right now is Bob Struckness out of Minot, North Dakota. His competition, the only Chevrolet in the field. This is Dale Welch from Kansas City, Kansas. The Kansas City Bomber Chevrolet powered a Keith Black racing engine sitting behind Bob Struckness from Minot, North Dakota. Bob Struckness across the finish line first. He built up a big lead as they left the line together. Struckness elapsed time, 6.21 seconds. And that's the amount of time it takes to travel a quarter of a mile, 1,320 feet, from a standing start. His speed at the finish, 236 miles an hour. Here from Lakewood, Colorado, a suburb of Denver, is Tom Kaiser. He is matched against Arcanum, Ohio's Paul Longnecker. Longnecker on the near side of the track. Tom Kaiser out of Colorado on the far side. Cars inching into the staging beams and leaving together. You saw a perfect shot there as the two cars left the starting line together. A smoke and fire out of Paul Longnecker's car. He took the win with a 6.22 elapsed time, 216 miles an hour. Let's watch as they drift through that quarter mile together. The motor's starting to smoke for Longnecker, and there it lets go. A burned piston pumping oil out of the motor. The oil catches fire, and that's a good reason why the driver's sitting in front of the motor with no problems for Paul Longnecker. He's getting out of the car at the far end of the track, ran off the edge. The NHRA Safety Safari right on the scene, making sure everything okay. Paul Longnecker now climbing out of the roll cage and looking at a very expensive win in the first round of Top Fuel here at the Springnationals. This is a matchup of two New Jersey cars all the way here to Ohio. Grant Stoms out of Edison, New Jersey, matched against Larry Booker out of Linden, New Jersey. Side by side through the quarter mile, and Grant Stoms takes a very narrow victory, 6.52 seconds to a losing 6.68, 224 miles an hour, the speed for Stoms. Look at the driving job that Larry Butcher does as he keeps the car from going across the center line, which would have meant automatic disqualification. So it's Grant Stoms advancing into round number 2 by just a few feet at the finish line. Down on the starting line right now, Frank Farino has a rather interesting look at Top Fuel racing.
Classic example, 2,000 horsepower pushing a man down a quarter-mile track. You ever wonder what it's like sitting there having to muscle that kind of power down a quarter mile? I want to take you on a little ride in one of those AA fuel dragsters. See if you can imagine what it's like to be the driver of that monster.
1,320 feet from a standing start in 6 seconds. Quite a ride for today's professional drag racer in Top Fuel Eliminator. This is Ted Wolf from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, driving the Jade Grenade of Fluor and Asher. His competition comes all the way from Bakersfield, California. They call themselves the Ridge Route Terrors. Warren and Coburn, lanky James Warren behind the wheel. Warren matched up here against Ted Wolf. On the tower side, the Jade Grenade. On the far side, the Warren and Coburn car, James Warren at the wheel. Both cars leave together. James Warren building up, and something comes off of James Warren's car, and it's Ted Wolf with an upset win. Warren, the number 3 qualifier here with a fine 6:11, had built up a big lead at about 2/3 of the way through the quarter mile. But as you can see on slow motion, it is the blower belt or the supercharger drive belt that comes off the car. The motor quits producing horsepower, and Ted Wolf takes an upset victory with a 6.50 second elapsed time. The weather here in Columbus, extremely hot for the past 3.5 days. High humidity, high temperatures, having an effect on racers and racetrack alike. Here's a pair out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. They're not quite used to this. Graham Light in the far lane is matched up against 2-time national champion and former world champ Gary Beck. Beck was asked if the hot weather has any effect on the way he races.
It's a little game of dice that you play amongst the other racers to get a good position qualifying, but still know how to race come the hot weather on Sunday afternoon.
An interesting matchup here, as this is Beck's former car. Graham Light purchasing the car, driving it now to make this 16-car field here at the Spring Nationals. Gary Beck in his brand new car, both drivers from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, both now staging very carefully. Graham Light all over the racetrack, but holds on for an upset victory as Light wins at 6.24 seconds at a speed of 227 miles an hour. Obviously, Gary Beck experiencing problems. 6.65 was his elapsed time. Let's watch the driving job by Graham Light as he keeps it between the center line and the guardrail to take that upset victory over Gary Beck. Quite a handful, 2,000 horsepower headed down that quarter-mile racetrack at National Trail. The next pair, Bob Edwards out of Union Bridge, Maryland. Coming up against Pat Dakin, driving the GL Rupp car from Miamisburg, Ohio. It's Dakin in the far lane, Bob Edwards in the near lane. Dakin having trouble finding traction. That smoke you see coming from the spinning tires. And Bob Edwards with a big first round victory. 6.37 seconds, his speed 229 miles an hour to move him into round number 2. Here in slow motion you'll see Pat Dakin losing traction at that point, and for all intents and purposes the race is lost right there. Bob Edwards taking the win to move to round number 2. Jubilation in the Union Bridge, Maryland crew. The last pair of the first round, the Candice and Hughes car, driven by Richard Tharp, the number 2 qualifier at 6.08 seconds, just 0.05 of a second behind Shirley Muldowney, matched up against Clayton Harris from Moulton, Alabama. And Richard Tharp drives around Clayton Harris, 6.13 second elapsed time. His speed, 233 miles an hour. They leave the line together. The best Harris could muster, 6.33 seconds at only 226 miles an hour. So Richard Tharp with a big win in the first round. Great excitement here in first round Top Fuel Eliminator at this 12th annual Spring Nationals.
And there will be more championship action coming up after this.
Out on the track, I don't want to be known as a great woman driver, but as a great driver who just happens to be a woman. And when the race is over, one thing that really makes me feel like a woman is being with a man that smells of English leather after shave. How can anything that smells so clean and fresh be so sexy? I guess that's why all my men wear English leather, or they wear nothing at all.
English leather, aftershave, and cologne.
That poor guy just paid me $200 for a big engine job. $200. This is a Fram oil filter, about $5. If he looked after his car right, including changing his oil regularly and putting in one of these when he was supposed to, chances are he wouldn't be paying me all this money now. Well, the choice is yours. You can pay me now or pay me later.
They've come here from all over the United States and Canada, and they've come here to race. But before they set foot on that track, before they lay rubber on that track, they've got to stop here. We're at the Eastland Shopping Center here in Columbus, Ohio. This is Tech Inspection.
Tech inspection, by the way, is just that, technical inspection. Doesn't matter whether you're a 55 Chevy or a custom-built funny car. You must go through this inspection to determine if you meet the safety guidelines and competition specifications set out by the National Hot Rod Association. They're checked out for things like suspension, traction devices, safety belts, engines, tires, you name it. Once everything checks out, then you can head for the track.
It's long, it's sometimes very tedious, and it certainly isn't very glamorous. But it's what makes the sport of drag racing as safe as it is today.
Back into action with the second round of Funny Car Eliminator. 16 of the finest funny cars in the country opened eliminations here at the Spring Nationals. This is round number 2 action, and this is the defending champion, Don the Snake Prudhomme from Granada Hills, California. Driving a car sponsored by the U.S. Army, Prudhomme is matched against the U.S. Marine car of Mickey Thompson, driven by Bob Pickett. Both cars highly capable of taking the big win here at the Spring Nationals. Pickett on the near side of the track, Prudhomme on the far side. Prudhomme winning 6 out of 8 NHRA national events in 1975, crowning it with the World Championship. Both cars approaching the starting line, inching into those staging beams and leaving the line together. A close race. The win lights call it. It is Don Prudhomme by just 0.04 of a second. Don Prudhomme advances into round number 3, the semifinals. 6.37 seconds elapsed time. His opponent, Bob Pickett, 6.41. Prudhomme's speed only 206 miles an hour. You see his parachute come out early. Pickett ran 222 miles an hour trying to catch the flying snake. Gary Bergen out of Stanton, California, the man that finished in the number 2 position in the World Championship Series points chase last season, is matched against Raymond Beadle out of Dallas, Texas. Beadle driving the famed Blue Max, winning last year the U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Frank asked Ray about superstitions when he comes to the starting line at a drag strip.
The only thing I'd say on superstition, we just don't like any green around. Green's bad luck. No green, no peanuts.
Ray Beadle, the driver of the Blue Max, racing here in round number 2 of Funny Car Eliminator at the Spring Nationals. Gary Bergen of Stanton, California. Funny cars are plastic-bodied replicas of late-model American cars, powered by the same type. Lot of smoke out of Gary Bergen's car. A tremendous amount of smoke, but we see no fire. The parachute's out, and he is bringing the car to a safe halt. Ray Beadle advances into round number 3 with a fine 6.60 second. Here in slow motion replay, you see the smoke very early, right past the Christmas tree, and Gary Bergen drifting out towards the outside of the track. But again, no fire, the driver apparently in no danger, but obviously something going drastically wrong in the engine of that car. And he coasts through the quarter mile as Ray Beadle streaks to a win to put him into the semifinals. As we were saying, the funny cars, plastic-bodied replicas of late-model American